Hey, and we are live. Well, I said to you guys a while ago that I'd like to do a little bit of a chat on moon signs. This is really interesting in astrology. Obviously, you have your sun sign, which is the sign we all know, which is determined by the time of year we're born. And then we all have a moon sign as well. Of course, we also have Mercury, Venus, Mars signs and ascendants. The moon sign is really important, though. So whatever sign of the zodiac you are, your moon could be in any of the other 12 signs. It's not like your Mercury sign, which is either going to be in the previous, the next sign, or your own sign. Hi, Jamie. Hello, welcome. And at the end of this, if you want to, you can tell me what your date of birth is, and I will tell you your moon sign. I'll just have to hop over there and get a reference book, which I failed to get. So one of the comments I had when I was talking about doing the moon signs was from a guy. And he said moon signs are really useful for women. And that's not actually true. Moon signs are really essential for men as well. So what the moon sign represents in astrology, it's your nature, your emotions, the kind of experiences you have imbibed from your parents. So the moon sign says a lot about the mother, could also be the father or the parents as a group, and how your early childhood upbringing has molded you and shaped you, or the kind of messages you picked up from your parents, the things you still carry with you that came from your parents. These might be things that gave you positive messages or negative messages, and these often impacted the kind of patterns that play out in our future relationships. So moon signs really important in the way we approach our relationships. The moon sign, hi Paul, hi Lobiosa, hi guys. The moon sign is also about what makes us secure, and it's our conditioning. Now, what I've noticed that's really interesting about moon signs, I've seen so many people say, for example, their moon is in Leo. You'll find so often they are with a Leo partner. Also works this way. Sometimes I know someone who has moon in Scorpio. They have a mother who is Scorpio and a wife who's Scorpio. So very often your moon sign might be the same sign as your mother. That happens really often. The other thing I found is that moon signs run in families. So for example, my mom is moon in Aries, her brother and sister-in-law Aries, and my mom's dad, my grandfather, is Aries moon as well. So there are actual themes that run in families that are kind of captured within these moon signs. And like I say, if you've got a moon in a certain sign, it's highly likely you're going to end up with a partner in that sign. I've seen that many, many times in practice. So someone said to me about the phases of the moon. Now, not only is the sign your moon falls into important, but also the phase, like are you born at full moon, at new moon, at the crescent, at the gibbous, at the disseminating moon, at the balsamic phase. There are 8 different phases. Although I must say in practice, I've never found those that illuminating. What else is important is aspects your moon makes to other planets, or as one listener asked me, what if your moon is unaspected? That also affects the interpretation of your moon. So while your moon sign is going to tell you an awful lot, if you find what I'm saying doesn't relate to you at all, it's probably because another heavy planet makes an aspect to your moon, and that might be overshadowing the sign or house placement. I thought it might be fun to just roll through the different moon signs, and I'm going to give you a little brief snapshot of what they're like. Now, I've been writing books of about 20,000 words each on every individual moon sign, so there's a huge volume to say. This is just meant to be a little taster. And yeah, hi, I am moon signs lunatic. Lunatics are drifted by the moon, as are the tides. Lunatic is not a nutcase or a fool. Lunatics are not padded cell people as most think. Yeah, I suppose like a lot of words, they've taken on a whole meaning of their own. Like for example, narcissist. It's become the latest slur term to use for anyone the media don't like, and it's got way away from what the meaning actually is. The meaning that the people in the media use for narcissist is entirely random, and it's just another word like an ism or a phobe that they can slap on people in order to smear them and to make people not listen to them. Hi, oh, Carolina, Miami. Oh, wonderful. I wish I was out there in Miami. Thank you for your sunshine. We've actually got a little bit of sunshine in the UK, and it's warming up. Nothing like Miami, though. That was a brilliant place. I'd love to visit. So let's talk about Aries moon. Now, all the fire moons, that's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, are extremely enthusiastic people, and they have a very quick reaction to things. So they get fired up and excited really quickly. They also get angry really quickly. Moon in Aries, as with the other fire moons, have a need. They feel their life should be special. They have this innate sense of having a special purpose, that they're not just a run-of-the-mill person, that there's a special future that's set aside for them, and that their life should really mean something. So I find with Moon in Aries people, they've got quite a quick temper because things do get on their wick and they react. But the great thing about Moon in Aries people is they react to everything. They're never boring because whatever's going on, they give a wholehearted response to it. So if you have Moon in Aries, it often indicates that you found that your parents really encouraged your independence. Possibly your parents were really busy getting on with their own lives, and so they wanted you to be independent. Or maybe they were just really encouraging you to be tough, be strong, stand on your own 2 feet. Moon in Aries parents are generally not mollycoddling. They kind of tell you to get on with it, be tough, be strong. They don't encourage a lot of sulking, or they really tell you to stand up for yourself. Moon in Aries people often have contentious relationships with women in their life. So if you have Moon in Aries, you might have fought a lot with your mother, argued with her, battled against her. She might have tried to push you one way and you rebelled. I have a friend who has a young son. He's 2 years old. He is Moon in Aries. And she said the entire time she was pregnant with him, she felt angry. She was very aggravated. It was a difficult pregnancy. She was on her, irritated the whole time. And when he came along, she found him extremely demanding and a big challenge. She found that, unlike her other children, he really got to her. So you see there, he was obviously picking up the anger in her, because a lot of Aries Moon kids pick up that there's a bit of anger in their parent and they may act that anger out, or they pick up the frustration in their parent and act it out. So that's Aries Moon. I thought I'd mention that Angelina Jolie is an Aries Moon, Steve Jobs, Ellen DeGeneres, Celine Dion, Bill Gates, and Jackie O, all examples of Aries Moon. Now, a lot of these people, look, I don't know a huge amount about some celebrities. In fact, I feel they all embellish their life stories. They either exaggerate or give out totally false stories just to create an exciting narrative that their fans can buy into, that you can't really believe any of these stories. So I don't think it's one can necessarily look into their pasts and draw conclusions, because there's too much exaggeration there. So Taurus Moon. Taurus Moon is an interesting one. Taurian moons are often born into privilege. They often have a lot of money and they're spoilt. However, in some cases, they're financially spoilt but emotionally a little bit deprived. And we have an example of that I can give you right away. That's Prince Charles. He has a Taurus moon, and his mother's Taurus as well. So there you go. There's that theme of having a mother who's Taurus. He's Taurus. So he's immensely privileged, but it's quite a cold, austere environment, the royal family, isn't it? Prince Harry also has moon in Taurus. Similar themes going on. As you can see, there's the moon in Taurus running in the family. So what else? Moon in Taurus needs a huge amount of affection, and usually their parents are very affectionate and they do spoil them. So even if the moon in Taurus child's parents are quite poor, they'll usually spoil them with a lot of affection, a lot of attention. They're usually, quite, really looked after and protected by their parents. If a moon in Taurus child doesn't get enough affection, they can become extremely fastidious about things like health and hygiene later on. They can be extremely self-conscious about their body. They can develop all these superstitions and rituals around health and hygiene to kind of cover up for an inner insecurity. Moon in Taurus have good money-making instincts. I think they inherit that from their parent. There's, a sense of wanting to be secure. So they work hard and they amass money. You do sometimes get Moon in Taurus who comfort eat. So they may put on weight because they really like to eat a lot of food to sate themselves and to soothe themselves. Yeah, hi Angela, hi Carolina, Jimmy. In Lancaster, northwest England, we have a tidal river named the River Loon. Ah, the River Loon, like the lunatic, eh? All right. Okay. Just found your channel. I enjoy listening to your news, but I don't believe in astrology, I'm afraid. Well, don't worry, Yorkie Bar. If you want to, maybe I can convince you. But look, I'm not an astrological preacher. I think people either want to believe it or they don't. Look, if you enjoy some of the things I say and find it relevant, then maybe I've converted you. But I've never been one of those people who are out to proselytize about astrology. So that's why this channel is a mixture between politics and astrology. So, you can draw all sorts of people in. So let's do Moon in Gemini. Moon in Gemini kids usually found their parents kind of intriguing and interesting, and there's a lot of intellectual stimulation they get from their mother or their parents. But there's not a closeness. They feel the parent is a little bit detached. Maybe they feel their parent has got so many interests that they're not really at the center of their parents' attention. And therefore, Moon in Gemini people later in life attract commitment phobes, and often they're extremely restless characters who find it hard to commit or to fully engage emotionally in a relationship because they didn't receive much emotional nourishment or emotional feedback from their parent. Their parent may have encouraged them to talk through problems but not really understand deeper emotional issues. So Gemini, Moon in Gemini people can be a little bit detached emotionally. They deal with life very intellectually, and they sometimes really steer away from drama and passion that really makes them uncomfortable. They probably gravitate to types like Aquarius and Libra, who are more cerebral in their approach and more balanced. They definitely do not like confrontation. So Moon in Libra, Moon in Gemini people can end up being quite people-pleasing and very eager to fit in because they don't like aggression and assertiveness. They like just to kind of blend in and to talk and to have fun. There's a great sense of them wanting to have fun. I just forgot to tell you that other Taurus moons was also Rafael Nadal, Bob Dylan, Elton John, and Mick Jagger. Moon in Gemini, that's Vladimir Putin, Tina Turner, Karl Lagerfeld, Pope John Paul II, and Goldie Hawn. So some examples of Gemini moons. So let's talk about Cancer moon. Now, moon is in its own sign in Cancer, as it's really strong. So these people often have a very strong attachment to their mother, and their mother is a huge influence in their life, either positive or negative. And that sets up a scene where through the rest of their life, women will play an extremely important role. I feel a Cancer moon is always looking for a mother figure, someone who can nurture them. They need a lot of emotion in their life, and they need to have relationships where there's a strong amount of protectiveness, of loyalty, of emotional sharing. Their intuition is highly developed. These people are very perceptive. They can use that both in business and in their relationships. They have an incredibly strong gut feel about people. They either like them or they don't. As I say, emotionally, they're very complex. And if their parent gave them a good, solid, secure grounding, these people can live extremely fulfilled lives and be extremely generous and caring. But if their parents, they didn't receive everything they needed from a parent, they might spend their life feeling guilty or trying to make it up to their mother, or feeling that in every relationship they always need to do more and give more. And they can also go into this kind of people-pleasing mode where they have to give so much of themselves, and they often don't get very much back, and they often don't know how to ask for what they need. Interesting thing I found looking at Moon in Cancers is their lives were incredibly shaped by their family or by a family theme. So one Moon in Cancer, which was the first one that came up, Jade Goody. Now, I know she was very close to her mom, and I saw that in one of the Big Brother series where she was with her mom. She did have you could see the bond there. It was very close. Obviously, it might have been a difficult relationship at points, but it was very close. Both Prince William and Catherine both have Cancer moon. Now, in Catherine's case, she's a Capricorn. She's got Cancer moon, and she's married a Cancerian, William. And William, his mom, Diana, was a Cancerian. So you see that dynamic working through there. And also with those two, and Camilla Parker Bowles is also a Cancer moon, and so was Osama bin Laden. So not to draw a comparison between them, but can you see the family influence? Because bin Laden was part of a prominent Saudi family. So you see the family influence shaping these people's lives. Also Jean-Marie Le Pen, Cancer moon, and you can see his patriotism and also the family thing again, because Marine is in politics, the younger niece is in politics. So again, a whole family thing going on. Charlotte Casaroghi of the Monaco royal family, again, family being the whole theme, her heritage, you know, she's born into this prominent family that shapes her whole life. You can see that family shape the life of people with Moon in Cancer. Also Michael Schumacher. So let's move on next. Moon in Leo. Obviously, it's a fire sign moon, and obviously Moon in Leo has a certain feeling of entitlement. They're often born into prominent families, which you'll see because William Churchill is a Moon in Leo. So they have the strong feeling that they are special and that their lives will be special. You often find Moon in Leo people are the oldest child of the family, so they come first, they get all that special attention, the privilege of being the only child for a time until the others come along. Moon in Leo people hate negativity. If anything gets on their wick, it's people who are negative. They often had parents who were very strong and positive, and therefore they approach life with an enormous amount of optimism. Moon in Leo people, they're very eager to have children, extremely invested in their children, and having a family is massively important to them. They really are protective over their children, and in many ways they try and live their life through their children. If their life wasn't fulfilling, they will try and live that out in their children, and they often spoil their children. They can't stop talking about their children. If you have a sun in Leo or ascendant in Leo, you are outwardly outgoing and gregarious. But Moon in Leo people are usually more gregarious within the family circle. So on Facebook, where they know they're only posting to friends and family, they are very big on putting pictures and expressing themselves, but they probably wouldn't come on YouTube here and express themselves to strangers. So Moon and Leo people are very outgoing and gregarious, but only within the confines of their social group, their family and their peers, people who they know well. Other important Moon in Leo people, Gandhi, Paul McCartney, Charlene Woodstock, who married into the royal family, Queen Elizabeth II. And of course, Queen Elizabeth II, Leo Moon, her mom, the Queen Mom, was Leo. So you see that working through again. And yes, and of course, born into a prominent family. Yeah, of course, that ticks the box for Queen Elizabeth as well. So now we're going to talk about Virgo Moon, which is me. That's why you'll always find me in the kitchen at parties. Yeah. That is my song for Leo Moon, because for Virgo Moon, because we love to be helpful. We've just got this thing about us that we always need to be helping out. We are workaholics and we can't stop ourselves. With a Virgo Moon, you perceived your parent as really encouraging your intellectual development, putting an emphasis on education, definitely communicating an awful lot with you. So my mom isn't actually Virgo, but she does have Sun in the 6th house, which, as you know, brings on a Virgo theme, and Mom's Gemini rising. So you've got that Mercury thing coming through. So because with my Virgo Moon, I'm also very interested in health and fitness. So my mom at age 16, she was already popping her vitamins back. And at age 16, she didn't tell me I had to, but I was already popping my vitamins back. So if you want to know what a person looks like who's basically overdosing on vitamins, that would be me. So Virgo Moon have quite a serious side, and we tend to worry a lot, and we definitely worry about our health. That's why we kind of geared up to look after our health and our fitness. And I think sometimes Virgo Moons are hypochondriacs. You know, they over worry about those sort of things because they are kind of geared up for that. Sometimes Virgo Moon people pick up anxiety from their parents, and that their parents were maybe very stressed and trying to do their best, but finding it quite, the whole thing quite stressful. And you pick that up. That's why in your life you're always trying to be helpful to people and judging situations and seeing how you can improve them. So that's kind of a Virgo Moon. Let's see here also the Virgo Moons. Michael Barrymore, Madonna, J.K. Rowling, Zayn Malik. Well, Freddie Mercury is a Virgo, so maybe there's a kind of meaning, and that's here Zayn Malik has Moon in Virgo. The Dalai Lama, Sean Connery, Elon Musk, Virgo Moon. Yeah, I bet his parents were definitely encouraging education, which is why at 12 he was already winning competitions for science. And Stephen Hawking, or Virgo Moon. So let's talk about Libra Moon. Now, something I found in my life with Libra Moon is these people are old souls. They're incredibly wise, and they're usually much, much older than their years. So even if you meet a Libra Moon and they are 25, they're far more like a 55-year-old. Not in terms of they look old, but they're so mature inside. They've got a great inner wisdom. It's almost like they've lived through many incarnations. That's something I found that's interesting. Moon in Libra people also people pleasers. They perceive their parents as being very calm and balanced and reasonable, and they perceive that that is the way to deal with life. So often they go through life and they may sometimes be quite superficial because they feel that their own emotions have to be kind of curtailed and restrained, and that they should try and be pleasing to people all the time. So a lot of Moon in Libra people do have this problem with people pleasing, and they may not always project their full and honest emotions because they feel this need to be charming and polite and to fit in. They really don't want to rock the boat. They hate aggression and they hate confrontation. So it can set up a theme in the life of Libra Moon people, that they're always doing what they can to avoid confrontation, and it can put them on the back foot in life, and they kind of have to get over that. Although, of course, being persuasive is a very important skill. I think what Moon in Libra people learn to do is to go everything in a roundabout way to get what they want. So they are kind of determined, but they know that to get it, you have to have PR. So they're natural born PR people. So let's see who I had. Sylvester Stallone is Moon in Libra, Nikola Tesla, Stalin, don't know what went wrong there, Shakespeare, Walt Disney, Marie Antoinette, Joan of Arc, and the famous astrologer Linda Goodman is also Moon in Libra. Okay, Moon in Scorpio. Right, this is an interesting one because the relationship with the mother or the effect of the family on this person is huge and very intense. I know of one case of someone whose mother left the home very early on in her childhood for reasons which were never quite clear. So there was a lot of mystery in the family. So lots of people have a Scorpio moon, have maybe skeletons in the closet. Something rather strange might have happened to them in early childhood that shaped them. There might have been an early death in the family. There might have been early family trauma or a very intense difficult atmosphere in the home that they felt they were living on the side of a volcano. And so their emotions become very intense, but also trapped. They are extremely emotional, intense people, but it's all locked on the inside. It's very hard for them to get out because they feel it's not safe to let their emotions out. In the case of this lady who I said had her mother left the home, she had a stepmother, and she was very suspicious of the stepmother. So often with the Scorpio moon, there might be some suspicion with the parent, with the mother or the parents. In some cases, the relationship with the mother is extremely powerful and intense, and the mother is a wonderful role model from which the child learns resilience and strength and really looks up to and admires the mother. But even in that case, it can be a kind of controlling relationship. Maybe there's some intimidation, or whether the child feels they'll never be quite as good as the parent. And therefore, it's very important for the child to develop, kind of their own route and their own life. So Moon in Scorpio is often a very complex person who will later attract relationships that have a lot of drama, a lot of passion, many, many ups and downs. And they'll attract sometimes fated experiences through the relationships. So there's a lot of karma to work out when you have a Moon in Scorpio. So let's see, that's Lady Gaga, Elizabeth Taylor, Charlie Chaplin, Bob Marley, Bono, Princess Caroline. I think that's a good one, Princess Caroline, because remember when she was young, there was the car accident and her mother was killed, and was always like covered up what really happened, because I think Stephanie was driving, she shouldn't be driving. I mean, there was something odd about the death of her mother, wasn't it? That's typical of Moon in Scorpio. Alexander the Great, also Moon in Scorpio, George Harrison, Steven Spielberg, Roger Federer, and Nostradamus. So some quite interesting characters there. So let's have a look at Moon in Sagittarius. I have some friends with this sign. They are incredibly competitive people. They just got to win, win, win. And let's say immediately, who always talks about we're going to win, we'll never get tired of winning? Donald Trump, who is Moon in Sagittarius. Nigel Farage is another one. Also a winner. So it's a lucky sign to be born in Moon in Sagittarius. What were the parents like? Nearly every Moon in Sag person I've known had a foreign parent. We know, okay, Donald Trump, it's got a foreign, his mother was from Scotland, his father was German. There's your foreign background. And what has he done? His wives were foreign, like Ivana and Melania, both born in other countries. Nigel Farage, both his wives, one was Irish, one was German as well. So he's going for the foreign-born wives. So there's often this foreign influence in the background of Moon in Sagittarius people, which gives them a real wanderlust later in life. They're encouraged to be extremely outgoing, happy-go-lucky. But again, on the emotional side, they're also encouraged by the parents not really to commit to anything. So they can be people who get bored very quickly and drift from thing to thing, because just boredom is a big problem for Moon in Sag, and often means they don't fulfill the potential. And it's probably because there was so much change in the home environment. Usually they come from extremely big families, you see, where there's an awful lot going on. And so they're used to so much going on. If they don't have all that stimulation, get really bored. Often I've seen it with Moon in Sag people, because Sagittarius is all about religion. They can have parents who are extremely religious and strictly religious and impose strict authoritarian religion on them, possibly even a kind of a bigoted religious outlook on children. And sometimes the Sagittarian moon has that thrust upon them, and then they try and move away from it. So let's see who else is Sag moon. We've got mentioned Farage and Trump, Van Gogh, Einstein, Freddie Mercury, Mozart, Picasso, Ted Bundy, that's the Ted Bundy, the serial killer from Seattle, Nishi, the philosopher, which kind of fits Sagittarius philosophy, and Beethoven. Right. What about Moon in Capricorn? Moon in Capricorn know how to keep their feelings locked in. They are brought up with a stiff upper lip attitude. So their parents encourage, a lot of hard work, a lot of restraint, a lot of concentration, and a lot of emotional restraint. So they're not always comfortable letting their emotions be known. I wouldn't say they're not in touch with their emotions, but they brought up to believe that emotions are something that you should come to keep to yourself. So they're not people that automatically share. Their parents were probably the kind of people who never shared at all, who maybe talked about a lot of things, but never talked about emotions. So they go through their life attracting more reserved people, not really flamboyant types. They probably would be turned off by a star sign, which really was big on showing emotion. Although they're very much attracted to Cancerians, because a Cancerian might pick up on the inner emotions that the Moon in Capricorn find hard to express. And then it sort of might be able to come out that way. So Moon in Capricorn people also, like all Earth moons, have this very strong need to be productive, to be working hard. Yes, they are also workaholics, people who find it quite hard to relax. They really find it hard to let go and just let their hair down and have fun. That's a big problem. Capricorn Moon have to go through a long period in their life, possibly until they get over their 40s, to really feel comfortable. They get better as they mature, like a fine wine, and then they really find it easier much later in life to enjoy things more and to appreciate things more. Let's see who was Amy Winehouse, Moon in Capricorn, Marine Le Pen, David Beckham, Abe Lincoln, Melania Trump, Cher, Sarah Jessica Parker, John Bon Jovi, Ernest Hemingway, and Adolf Hitler. So let's talk about Moon in Aquarius. My theme tune for Moon in Aquarius is "Wherever I lay my hat, that's my home." Moon in Aquarius generally have quite a disruptive childhood. They may also have a big family, or they may have a family who love to have guests over, people staying, other members of the family staying. So they're the kind of people who are used to, from an early age, they're used to adapt to a lot of people, to get on with a lot of people, to be very open and tolerant to all sorts of different behavior. They're quite bohemian, and they might have actually had parents who were very kind of way out and bohemian. So they start off in their life being hugely acceptive of a whole range of behavior. So they're really open-minded. Often, though, they are searching for stability, and they may be craving getting together with a person who is like much more fixed, much more solid, who likes a routine, to kind of give them a structure, because their parents never gave them a structure. And as a result, they actually feel kind of insecure. They don't know where they are at. So if you meet a Moon in Aquarius, you might find they're all over the place. They just don't know what they want. And that's because the parents almost gave them too much freedom and didn't encourage them to develop, an emotional framework from which they can go forward and fit things in their life into that emotional framework. So Moon in Aquarius, they're quite happy. They can backpack around the world. They can go and hang out and sleep on someone's couch quite happily, but they really are craving security. Let's see who we have. Marilyn Monroe, Moon in Aquarius. They're sometimes deeply troubled, unhappy people, like Marilyn Monroe, and just, I live my life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in, right? There's the song for Marilyn. It absolutely perfectly encapsulates Moon in Aquarius. Also have Diana, Princess of Wales, who that song was also dedicated to. We have Britney Spears, Woody Allen, Eminem, John Lennon, Charles Manson, Angela Merkel, Sophia Loren. Like kind of Charles Manson, okay, if you take out the murderer part, the fact that he was running a cult and living in a sort of commune and like that, that is so Moon in Aquarius, his lifestyle, not the murdering part, but the lifestyle part. And also they say Jesus Christ was a Moon in Aquarius. I'm not sure where this person got that, but they said that Jesus Christ's date is February the 28th, 7 BC. Figure that one out. I'm not sure if we should take that as accurate, but I suppose Moon in Aquarius, in a way, possibly, who knows. Okay, interesting. Let's talk about Moon in Pisces. Moon in Pisces often have a victim complex. So they may have perceived their mother as someone who was victimized, someone who was downtrodden, someone who was unhappy, possibly very creative, but also fragile. And as a result, people with Moon in Pisces have a massive big affinity with the underdog. There's always something inside them which will also feel a victim and also feel an underdog. They battle to fit in, and they spend their life searching for somewhere where they can feel at home, secure, and accepted. They have an enormous need for acceptance, somehow because they perceive their parents as outsiders or kind of underdogs or downtrodden. Because they perceive that, they're always looking for not only to defend people that they see like that, but for some place where they can find strength. And sometimes they become people who are extremely bossy, outspoken, strong, because they are trying to guard against all this time, this insecurity inside, this immense neediness. So they do need a partner as well that can give them a huge amount of love in order to restore this gap that they feel inside. A couple of people who are, George Galloway is Moon in Pisces. I think that kind of what I said does say a lot about George. Katie Hopkins as well. So right to the opposite side of the spectrum, we have Katie Hopkins. Not sure what her family background was like, but there you go. Then Michael Jackson, Leonardo da Vinci, Grace Kelly, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who is a very on the left-wing side of French politics, right, like George, and Che Guevara, another one on the left-wing side. We have Martin Luther King as Moon in Pisces, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Prince, Marie Curie. I guess that tells you quite well about the medicine thing. And I'd like to end on Aleister Crowley, Moon in Pisces. I'm sure a lot of you who follow this channel know who Aleister Crowley is. Sometimes called the most wicked man in the world, a writer, an adventurer, someone who was extremely well versed in the occult, one of the leading occultists of the last, 120 years or whatever. So I have a little interesting story about Aleister Crowley. Now, I've spent a lot of my life living in Leamington Spa in Warwickshire, which is where Aleister Crowley was born. So going back, I don't know, it was about 18 years ago, my mom and I were looking for a new place to live. So there was a renovated townhouse in Leamington. And if you actually go on Aleister Crowley's Wikipedia page, you'll see a picture of that very place in Leamington, that terrace. And they'd renovated it, so it was made into flats, like a basement flat, ground floor, blah, blah, blah flat. And we were seriously going to buy one of the flats, and we'd even paid the deposit. And then I found out a few years later that house was where Aleister Crowley was born. So I thought that was a strange thing to have happened, especially as I'm interested in astrology. And I wouldn't say I was massively interested in Crowley, but something I have looked into, I have researched. And there I was, sort of attracted to that exact place where he was born. Oh, it's kind of weird. Okay, I'm going to look at some of your comments here. What? Oh my God, 1 hour. What's that all about? I don't know. It was burning and burning, and it's still burning. Yes, are you talking about Notre Dame? Yeah, I was going to have something to say about that. Jonathan, I missed most of this. Looking forward to listening back to my moon sign, Crabby Cancer. Well, Jonathan, what I said is I'm going to return to all these moon signs in a lot more detail. This was just an overview, just to kind of show you the stuff that you can get out of moon signs, because I think some of you maybe underestimated it. Just an average. Okay. All right. I'll read your comments all later. And I just wanted to say something about Notre Dame. Thanks, guys.